Have you ever stopped in the middle of your day and asked yourself, am I truly happy? Am I truly fulfilled? Most people don't. Most people are so busy chasing success, chasing recognition, chasing the next big thing that they forget to ask the one question that matters most. Am I living a life that brings me real joy every single day? Because let me tell you something. Joy is not a momentary spike of pleasure. Fulfillment is not a trophy you hang on your wall. True, lasting happiness, real fulfillment comes from something far deeper than circumstances. Here's the truth. Too many of us look outside ourselves for happiness. We think if we earn more money, get more likes, buy a bigger house, or win the approval of others, we'll finally feel whole. But that's an illusion, a mirage that keeps moving the moment you reach it. You felt it, haven't you? That fleeting satisfaction that disappears the instant reality hits. That's because joy and fulfillment are not things you acquire. They are things you become. They are cultivated, not collected. And that's the ultimate key. It starts with mastery over your own mind. Your emotions are not accidents. They are the results of the stories you tell yourself. If you tell yourself you are unworthy, that life is unfair, that happiness is somewhere out there, you will always feel empty. But if you decide right here and right now to take responsibility for how you feel, to deliberately craft a mindset of gratitude, purpose, and love, then everything changes. Because when your inner world is aligned with joy, your outer world begins to reflect it. Now, let me ask you something. How much of your life have you been living on autopilot? Going through routines, checking off tasks, reacting to what happens around you instead of designing what happens within you. That's where most people get stuck. Chasing distractions, chasing escape, chasing temporary highs. But permanent joy, authentic fulfillment is never about escape. It's about presence. It's about fully inhabiting your life, embracing every challenge as a lesson, every success as a gift, and every moment as an opportunity to grow. And here's the most powerful thing. You don't have to wait for some magical event, some perfect situation, or some external validation to start feeling this way. You can choose joy today. You can choose fulfillment today. You can decide to shift the way you see yourself, the way you see your circumstances, the way you interpret every experience. That choice right now, this moment, is the ultimate key. Because when you begin to live intentionally, to focus on contribution rather than consumption, to nurture relationships instead of chasing possessions, your life transforms in ways you never imagined. Fulfillment grows from giving, from connecting, from stepping into your highest purpose. Joy is amplified when you celebrate the ordinary, when you find meaning in small victories, when you realize that life is not about getting, but about being. And it's not just a theory, it's science. Studies show that people who practice gratitude, who invest in meaningful relationships, who align their daily actions with their deepest values, experience lasting happiness far beyond what money, fame, or comfort can ever provide. That's why you see billionaires who are miserable and ordinary people who are radiantly happy. They've discovered the ultimate key, whether they know it consciously or not. So, what will you do today? Will you continue to drift through life, waiting for fulfillment to magically appear, or will you take the reins, redesign your inner world, and claim the life you were meant to live? Joy is not a reward for what you achieve. It's a practice, a discipline, a way of living that can begin right now. Fulfillment is not a distant destination. It's a choice, and it's available in every moment you decide to embrace it fully. It's time to stop outsourcing your happiness. It's time to stop waiting for permission to feel good. It's time to stop believing that you need more, need better, need outside approval. The ultimate key to permanent joy and authentic fulfillment isn't out there, it's inside you. And when you unlock it, when you step into it, your life doesn't just change, it transforms. Every relationship deepens. Every experience becomes richer. Every day becomes meaningful. And that, my friends, is the power you hold. The power to shift your life from fleeting moments of pleasure to enduring states of happiness. The power to replace emptiness with purpose, anxiety with peace, and longing with contentment. The power to live, not just exist, to thrive, not just survive, to create a legacy of joy that radiates through every corner of your life. Because fulfillment, true fulfillment, is not a gift someone gives you. It's the masterpiece you craft with every thought, every choice, every action, every breath you take. And once you realize that, once you embrace it fully, the world will never feel the same again. Joy and fulfillment are not things you stumble upon by accident, and they are certainly not rewards handed to you by the world outside. Most people spend their entire lives looking outward, thinking that if they can just achieve a certain level of success, earn a certain amount of money, or gain recognition from others, then happiness will finally arrive. But the truth is that kind of happiness is fleeting. It comes in waves, short-lived, bursts of pleasure or satisfaction that disappear as quickly as they came. True joy, the kind that endures, and authentic fulfillment, the kind that sustains you through the highs and lows of life, are cultivated from within. They are born from the choices you make every day, the thoughts you nurture, and the meaning you assign to every experience. It begins with understanding that your external circumstances are not what define your inner state. You can live in a modest home, have a job that challenges you, face uncertainty and obstacles, and yet feel a deep, unshakable sense of happiness if your mind, heart, and spirit are aligned. Conversely, someone with every material comfort, accolades, and opportunities can feel hollow, restless, and unfulfilled if they have neglected the inner work necessary to cultivate true contentment. The difference lies in where you place your attention, how you interpret the events around you, and the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what your life means. When you recognize that joy and fulfillment are not dependent on what you acquire or achieve, you free yourself from a lifelong cycle of chasing external validation. You stop looking for happiness in the next promotion, the next purchase, or the next relationship, and you begin to create it from within, moment by moment. This requires deliberate effort and awareness because the mind naturally gravitates toward what it perceives as lacking, or what it fears. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction is an opportunity to practice this cultivation of joy. By choosing gratitude over complaint, generosity over self-interest, presence over distraction, and love over judgment, you train yourself to experience fulfillment regardless of your circumstances. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending that life is perfect. It's about meeting reality with an empowered mindset, a compassionate heart, and a sense of purpose. Consider this. Two people can experience the exact same event, yet their internal states can be entirely different. One might feel stressed, anxious, or resentful, while the other feels curious, grateful, and engaged. The difference is entirely internal. It's cultivated, not accidental. Developing this inner state requires you to take responsibility for your emotions, to recognize that your happiness is not someone else's job, and to practice consistently the mental, emotional, and spiritual habits that reinforce joy and fulfillment. Meditation, reflection, journaling, gratitude practices, acts of kindness, and meaningful connection are all tools to strengthen this inner cultivation. But beyond any single practice, it is the overarching mindset, the conscious choice to see life as a journey filled with opportunities for growth, meaning, and joy that makes the difference. Fulfillment also grows when you align your daily actions with your deepest values. When what you do consistently reflects who you are and what you stand for, a sense of purpose emerges naturally, and with it comes enduring happiness. Without alignment, achievements can feel hollow, relationships can feel empty, and even moments of pleasure can feel fleeting. To cultivate joy from within, you must first know yourself, your values, your passions, your strengths, and your purpose. You must identify what truly matters to you, not what society, family, or peers dictate. Once you have clarity on what matters most, you can begin to live intentionally, choosing actions that reinforce your sense of meaning rather than detract from it. And because joy and fulfillment are cultivated internally, they are remarkably resilient. External hardships, disappointments, or setbacks may challenge you, but they cannot take away the inner sense of well-being you have built. When your happiness comes from within, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, other people, or fleeting moments of success. You have an internal foundation so strong that life's storms may sway you, but they will not knock you down. This is the ultimate power of cultivating joy from within. It gives you freedom, resilience, and the ability to experience deep, authentic satisfaction every day, in every moment, regardless of what life throws at you. It transforms life from a series of external pursuits into a rich, meaningful experience where happiness is not a destination to chase, but a state to create. It allows you to live fully, to engage with others authentically, and to experience life in its full spectrum with a sense of gratitude and presence that no external achievement can replicate. The more you practice this internal cultivation, the more natural it becomes, until joy and fulfillment are not occasional rewards, but the default state of your being, accessible at any moment and under any circumstance, deeply rooted in the conscious, deliberate choice to nurture your inner world and to live in alignment with your highest self. Lasting happiness does not arrive by chance, and it is not something that can be found outside of yourself. It is the result of intentional living, of making conscious choices every day that align with your deepest values, your authentic purpose, and the life you truly want to create. Most people spend their lives reacting to the world around them, allowing circumstances, other people's opinions, and external events to dictate their emotional state. They chase fleeting pleasures, temporary highs, and external validation, thinking that these things will somehow fill the emptiness inside. But no amount of recognition, wealth, or success can replace the profound satisfaction that comes from living a life in alignment with who you are at your core. The ultimate key to lasting happiness is not what you get. It is what you consistently give to yourself and the world in terms of attention, focus, and energy. Every choice you make has the power to either reinforce your fulfillment or diminish it. When your daily actions are in harmony with your values and purpose, you create an internal ecosystem that naturally supports happiness. When they are misaligned, even the biggest accomplishments can feel hollow, leaving you restless, unfulfilled, and searching for something you cannot yet define. Understanding your values is the foundation of this process. Values are the principles that guide your life, the invisible forces that shape your decisions, relationships, and priorities. When you live according to your values, you operate from integrity and authenticity. And fulfillment arises naturally because you are honoring the essence of who you are. If you ignore your values and let the expectations of others dictate your path, you are building a life that looks impressive on the outside but feels empty on the inside. Alignment between your actions and your values creates an energy that cannot be manufactured or borrowed. It gives you clarity in decision-making, peace in your interactions, and resilience in the face of adversity. When you are aligned, your mind, heart, and spirit are in sync, and that internal coherence translates into lasting happiness. Beyond values, intentional. Living also requires cultivating meaningful relationships. Human beings are wired for connection, and fulfillment grows exponentially when we invest in authentic, supportive, and loving connections. Relationships are not merely social obligations. They are mirrors that reflect our growth, sources of inspiration, and channels through which we experience love and purpose. By nurturing relationships with those who uplift, challenge, and support you, you amplify your sense of meaning and joy. Conversely, surrounding yourself with negativity, criticism, or shallow interactions erodes your well-being and disconnects you from the fulfillment that is possible. Gratitude is another cornerstone of lasting happiness. It is a conscious practice that shifts your attention from what is lacking to what is abundant, from scarcity to possibility. When you regularly acknowledge the blessings, lessons, and opportunities in your life, your perspective changes. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks become lessons, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Gratitude is not merely a polite acknowledgement. It is a transformative habit that rewires your brain to focus on the positive, reinforcing the emotional state of contentment and satisfaction. Presence is equally critical. Life unfolds in moments, and happiness emerges when we fully inhabit those moments rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. When you practice mindfulness and presence, you become aware of the richness of each experience, the taste of food, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of a friend, the beauty of a conversation. These moments, when noticed and appreciated, compound over time into a life that feels deeply rewarding. Purpose is the fuel that sustains intentional living. Purpose gives direction to your actions, meaning to your struggles, and context to your achievements. Without purpose even, the most exciting experiences can feel empty. Purpose connects you to something larger than yourself, whether it is service to others, creating something of lasting value, or contributing to the betterment of the world. When your life is purpose-driven, every decision, effort, and challenge becomes meaningful. And with meaning comes fulfillment. Intentional living also requires courage. the courage to face fears, to make difficult choices, to step outside comfort zones, and to take responsibility for your emotional state. It requires honesty with yourself about what you want and what matters most, even when that truth conflicts with societal expectations or pressures. By facing life deliberately and embracing responsibility for your happiness, you reclaim control over your emotional state, rather than allowing external circumstances to dictate it. Consistency is key. Lasting happiness is not a one-time achievement or a fleeting moment of euphoria. It is a practice cultivated day after day through deliberate choices, reflection, and actions that reinforce your values and purpose. Small, consistent habits compound into a life of fulfillment, resilience, and inner peace. Every conscious choice to live in alignment, to connect meaningfully, to express gratitude, to be present, and to pursue purpose strengthens the foundation of your happiness. Over time, this intentional approach transforms your life into one that is not dependent on external circumstances or temporary pleasures, but is rooted in a deep, enduring state of satisfaction. The more you commit to living intentionally, the more natural it becomes, until happiness is not occasional or accidental, but the default state of your being, flowing from the alignment of mind, heart, and soul.